Alright guys, so I've had a few things change with these over the past few months, so I'm going to make a new how-to video on installing these things. First step is you need your Sidewinder. You need one of these. These are on my Etsy. There's a link in my bio. You need a 9mm wrench, battery, some electrical tape. Alright, the first step is going to be putting some electrical tape around the motor housing on this to protect it, so that it doesn't get all scratched up like mine is, because I've been kind of lazy about it. Okay, get the tape started. Hold your machine like this. Line up the outer edge of the tape with the outer edge of the machine housing. Past that little bevel there. You see the bevel on the edge? Go past that to the outer side of the machine housing. I like to start it about right there. Put your thumb on it and start pulling it tight. Not super tight, but nice and snug. Pull it around twice. So there's one. And then cut it off just short of it being twice. So you see where I started there was right about there, so I'm going to cut it down there. It's okay if there's a little gap right there, because that's where the opening of this is going to be. Okay, so you got your tape around there twice. Take this, you can take the little rubber thing out. That rubber thing is for V6s and smaller motors. Most of the Kubin machines are this size here, so you don't need the rubber insert. Put it on there, and what you should find is that it's snug. It's kind of hard to get on there, so spin it a little bit to get it on there. It shouldn't go on super easy. It should be snug. Get it to where you want it. A lot of people are doing it like this, angled forward. I mean, it's either way is fine. I'm just going to put it like this for now. And what you're going to see here is that the tape kind of curled up around the edges of these back two binding post screws. That's what you want. And then you want to keep this thing a little bit away from these things. Leave a little gap. You don't want to smash this all the way up there. Basically, what you don't want to do is connect these two with this piece here, because even though it's powder coated, it can still conduct electricity. So right about there is fine. Okay, position it where you want it. Don't plug this part in yet. Leave that out. Okay, then take your wrench. Hold the top of this. Don't use pliers, use your fingers. Take the wrench and start turning the nut. And this is where a lot of people are having issues with them breaking. And I'll tell you why. A lot of times people are spinning the top piece instead of the nut. Hold the top piece still. Don't spin the top piece at all. Just tighten the nut. Do it nice and slowly. Don't try to push it down, or don't try to muscle it on there too hard. Get it to where it's kind of firm, and then test it. What you want is, you don't want it to move too easily, and you don't want this top part to spin. That's the main thing right now. So I think what a lot of people are doing is they're not quite tightening it all the way. They're putting the battery on, and you'll notice, especially with a new battery, if you put the battery on and spin it, see how it's spinning? See how that nut's turning? That means it's still a little bit too loose. So, pull the battery off. It's just a really tight battery. That's the issue most people are having. So you took the battery off, give it another half a turn maybe. Try it again. See that? That's good. That nut isn't turning. That's what you want. Okay. And you didn't tighten it down so much that you broke this in half. That's the other good thing, because that's what used to happen with the old RCAs I was using. They were kind of cheap, and so these would just break in half. And so I got these new ones, and so far they've been doing pretty good. The main issue now I've been having is that this wire has been breaking, because this has been spinning. People are turning it once it's already installed. And so I'll show you what's happening here is basically once you put the clip cord in, if you start spinning this guy and it starts spinning down here, this is going to spin. This wire here is going to spin and break, whereas this one isn't going to move. So don't do that. Once you get it tight, then you can plug the clip cord in. But we're going to leave it out for now. Okay, so you got that all on there. This part right here, the top wire, should be pushed over to this side. That's where you want to keep it. And the reason why is because when you're tightening it, you don't want to have to keep going back and pushing this over. So once it's over there, it's fine. And then that's about it with these. Once you got it on there, go ahead and put the clip cord in, pop your battery in, give it a shot. The reason I use clip cords on these instead of hardwiring them to these nuts back here is because with Kubin machines, a lot of times people want to reverse the polarity. And so with the clip cord, you can do that. If you have, I forget which way, but I think positive side down makes it run a little harder. Go to his YouTube channel, Dan Kubin, and watch his videos on these machines. But if you reverse the polarity, it'll soften up the hit a little bit. I've seen a couple people come out with versions of these that don't have a clip cord, so you're basically stuck with running the polarity one way, which I think is the positive side down, which is probably fine too, but you know, this is kind of cool. Gives you a little bit more room to play. And then when you put your battery on, oh, here's another thing that's important. So when you're setting this up, you want to put your battery on before you put, or excuse me, you want to put your rubber band on before your battery. I'm just going to use one of these little rubber bands. You want to use the thicker ones for a Kubin machine, but I'm just going to show you here. So put your rubber band on just like that, just like how you normally would. Obviously, once you racked up your needle and everything, then put your battery on. Because if you put your battery on first and you try to pull that rubber band around it, you could probably do it, but it's going to be a little bit harder. Okay, so see, I think that might be it. That's this is a critical battery. It usually has a jump start, which is fine, but I think there's a way to turn them off. I just haven't figured it out yet. Okay, now, this is really important. Once you have the battery on, don't start turning the battery around unless you're holding the nut with your thumbnail, just in case. You don't want to start spinning this around because you don't want this wire to break. If you just put it on like this, get it where you want it, and just leave it alone, it should last forever. I mean, for, you know, a long time anyways. But if you're messing with it, spinning the battery around, that nut starts spinning, you're going to spin your wire and break it. You know, this is still kind of this is still my original design pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of improvements that could be made on it. If I had a, you know, way to do injection molding or something, I'd make this way different. But as it is right now, I'm kind of just using pieces and parts that I can buy separately that aren't really made for this. So like these metal things here, I bend those by hand. You know, I buy them kind of already close to the shape, but I have to finish bending them with the pliers to get them exactly the right shape. And so they're not all exactly 100% the same. They're pretty damn close. So if you go to tighten this down all the way, and you got it all the way tight and it's still moving a little bit, add a little bit more tape. You know, don't be afraid to pop it off, put another quarter wrap of tape around it. If you put 2 wraps of tape around it and you can't mash it on there, take a little tape off. The tape is just to protect the motor housing here, keep it from getting scratched, and also to prevent it from connecting, from shorting out, because it is metal. You know, and there is a ground or whatever. I mean, part of this machine is you know, the housing's metal too, so you don't want to short it out. Then if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, or even better yet, Etsy. You know, if you send me a message on Etsy, I'm going to answer it right away. If you send me a message on Instagram, sometimes I don't check it for a day or two, so, you know, if it's urgent, always send it to me on Etsy. And that's about it. Thank you very much.